But what the marketing pulpit is about is strategy. Use social media and stop letting it use you. That's one thing about a business. It's an equalizer. It's a game changer. Lock the refrigerator door. Do not let negativity have another bite. Don't feed it. I may stop at some period, but as long as folks acting the fool, got to talk about it. And one of the things you want to do as a business owner is to create barriers of entry. I'm not busy. I'm just in another era. If we know that women are carrying the burden, they should be paid more, they should be given more flexible work hours. We have to think like the successful companies. Good morning and welcome to the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses, we're saving jobs, saving our community. I am on a mission. How long have I been saying that? About 12 years. Well, see, the thing about a mission, you don't necessarily have to get to the end of it. It's ongoing. It's part of who you are. It's your purpose. You just stay at it. You bring in collaborators and partners and get other people to join in. So yeah, 12 years is a long time to be on this cause, but we've seen results. We see results every day. People are calling saying, look, I took this one piece of advice you gave me and I've done this, I've done that. I've shared this show with other people. So yeah, that's what happens when you're on a mission. Things just germinate, they happen. So thank you again for joining in. I am Robert Gatewood, your host. I'm a business developer by trade. I build businesses. Sounds kind of magical, right? Well, see, I don't do it. I help others do it. So people call me, put together a strategy, a plan. Sometimes it's just a matter of giving out advice. It's not even a client relationship necessarily, but by my very essence, I'm a business developer. That's what I do. That's my cause célèbre, my reason for being. I have a company, actually, by the way, called Gatewood Marketing and Web, located in the DC area. And I'm also an adjunct professor at Prince George's Community College. I've written a couple of books, Played in Full and Smarter Than the Boss. And I'm also a consultant at the Small Business Administration, where I help companies in the 8A program. So I've been doing this for a minute. I have some receipts, a receipt or two. But I don't say that to brag. I just say that whatever you decide to do, when you go out here and spend your hard-earned money, make sure the person knows what the heck they're doing. Do I know everything? Nope. I'm still learning just like everybody else. But you can't discount experience. I'd rather you to learn from some of my mistakes and some of the mistakes of others than have to keep learning those same mistakes yourself. It can get costly. Sometimes it can put you out of business. Go to marketingpulpit.com if you're looking to watch the show live. You can share it with others, whether you have social media or not. You can watch the show live at marketingpulpit.com, and you can watch past shows. We're also on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter, and we are on LinkedIn. So you can get this show in just about any way you choose. And I want to thank everybody who's tuning in. I see people tuning in on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn. I see the numbers. Thank you again for joining me this morning. And to all of my regular visitors and viewers like Mr. Brown, thank you for joining us, as you so often do. Mr. Brown is one of the greatest plumbers in town. If you need a good plumber, we have one right here. People always ask me about a plumber, so I'm always happy to promote Mr. Gerald Brown of Eternity Plumbing. If you want to shout out your company, by all means, you can join the conversation. Just drop your company in the feed, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and we will give you a shout out. If you want to join the conversation, by all means, drop us a note, and we will engage you during this show. This is the last show of February, which is Black History Month. And wow, what a way to end the month. We just found out that President Joe Biden has actually nominated a candidate to fill the position vacated by Justice Stephen Breyer on the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, the chosen young lady is Miss Ketanji Brown Jackson. And she is the nominee. And the president is going to be making an announcement later today. And of course, he coincided. That was no coincidence that he chose to do this during Black History Month. He actually made the promise. It was a campaign pledge he made a couple of years ago. And Miss Brown, she's a 51-year-old Miami native, and she has studied. She has a couple of degrees from Harvard with honors. She has 3 federal clerkships, including one under Justice Breyer himself. And she has 8 years as a district court judge after she was unanimously confirmed by the Senate vote back in 2013. So she is no stranger to the court. She is no stranger to the Senate. And for all practical purposes, it's almost a certainty that she will be sworn in as the first Black woman on the United States Supreme Court. Man, I get tired of these firsts, actually. Why do we have to? I'm happy that she's the first, but hopefully there will come a day when we can just say that this is the way it is. All these firsts have been removed, but this is one that has been long overdue. Why in the world in 2022, in this country that has been around for so many years, has now just decided to include a Black woman on the court? But like I say, we'll just keep chipping away, and things will get better. We just have to stay on it. You have to keep your foot to the pedal to the metal. So congratulations, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, as the new nominee for the United States Supreme Court. Later in the show, I'm going to be talking about the 80-20 rule. Do you know that about only 20% of your effort yields about 80% of the results? In other words, man, we go through the day, about 80% of the stuff we're doing, we could just leave on the shelf. We could just save that time and do something else and focus on that 20%. There's this guy called Pareto, it's called Pareto's Law, which is really the 80-20 rule. But I'm going to add a marketing context to it. So later in the show, we're going to talk about how you can get more results from less effort. And I'm going to give you 10 marketing things. I'm going to take Pareto's Law, the 80-20 rule, and scrap out a lot of nonsense and give you 10 marketing things you can do starting right away that can make your business more successful, more productive, and more profitable. So you don't want to miss that coming up later in the show. Here's an interesting story. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to talk about some items that are happening in the news. And then later in the show, like I said, we're going to talk about the 80-20 rule and how to make your business more productive. But before I do that, I keep hearing this saying about good things come to those who wait. Every time I turn around, that was an old saying back in the day. Good things come to those who wait. If you wait it out, some good things are going to happen. Well, that may be true, but I say even better things come to those who seize the moment. Man, in this digital age, you can't be waiting on things. I mean, this world is moving too fast. You sit there waiting, man, you might miss that boat. You might miss that bus. You might miss that opportunity. So even though there is some validity, there is some sagacity to good things come to those who wait. But you can't take that as an absolute. I'm going to add a little asterisk. Go ahead and wait if you must. If you must, sometimes you find yourself in a situation where you can't. It's just immutable. You can't change it. You have to wait. But that does not prevent you from seizing the moment. So let's just say you're planting crops. While you're waiting on those crops to grow, why don't you go ahead and till the soil a little more, make sure the environment is ready and more favorable for those crops to blossom. let's say you're waiting on the market to change. Let's say you're in a bear market and things are, whether it's real estate or whether it's stock market, and you're waiting on the market to change. But instead of just sitting there waiting, you may find yourself taking advantage of some opportunities and getting yourself ready for when the market turns back up. Let's say you're waiting on that job opportunity. You're waiting on that big contract. Well, you can sit there and wait and paste and get gray hair, or you could be touching up your networks, making sure that you're ready when that opportunity lands. I mean, something as simple as a website. People are always getting their websites done, and so we're going to have this website launched in March 1st. They're sitting there waiting in double dutch mode, waiting on something to happen. But instead of sitting there waiting, go ahead and start building your content. Start getting that content for that blog. Start making those announcements, getting those announcements ready for when that website is ready to launch. So don't just sit there and wait. Yes, it's going to be good when that website launches, but it's going to be even better if you seize the moment. So I'm going to say yes. Good things can and do happen to those who wait. But we're living in an age now where we don't have the luxury of waiting. We're in a microwave society. Things happen. We're like a walking real live TV show. So wait if you must, but while you wait, seize the moment and prepare yourself when that eventuality does come your way. What we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to talk about some items in the news when we come back, including there's a war going on in Europe. And we're going to talk about how that war can affect you as a business owner and some steps you might take to prevent yourself from being adversely affected. So hang on. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. We are here every Friday. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in a moment. I'm not busy. I'm just in another era. Lock the refrigerator door. Do not let negativity have another bite. Don't feed it. If we know that women are carrying the burden, they should be paid more, they should be given more flexible work hours. I may stop at some period, but as long as folks back the food, got to talk about it. All that glitters is not gold. And it simply means that just because something is shiny and pretty doesn't mean that it has value. But there's another side of this coin also that says that all this gold does not necessarily glitter. That means we have people out here right now among us who are doing some phenomenal things, but they don't get the glitter. Because to them, it's more about the purpose. It's more about the results. It's more about helping people. It's more about uplifting. And it's less about shining in the spotlight. So yes, there is some truth to the saying that all that glitters is not gold. But let's not forget also that there are some gold out here that's not glittering. And there are people. They're doing their thing. All right, welcome back to the show. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. If you haven't already, go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel, and we'll keep you abreast. You can find out. You get some of the latest posts and past shows, some of the short snippets Also, you can follow us on Instagram, where you can also get 1 minute blurbs of some of the past shows, and Facebook, where you can get the full shows, where we broadcast live, as well as on Twitter and LinkedIn. So, welcome and thank you, everybody who's tuning in on these various platforms. I see people are tuning in on Facebook. I see people are tuning in on YouTube. I see people are tuning in on LinkedIn. So thank you very much for tuning in today. We'll say good morning to some people. Good morning, Brother Bradley Thomas, attorney and person extraordinaire. He's also a viable candidate for Washington, D.C. at large. Thank you again for being a regular listener. Good morning, Platinum. All right, the funny lady. She's a comedian. I mean, you have to check her out. Platinum. Good morning. Thank you for tuning in, and everybody else who's tuning in. I see your numbers. I won't really see your name until you actually make a comment. So if you want to do it, get a shout out. Just drop a comment, and we'll actually shout you out here on the air. And also, like I said, if you like, you can drop in your URL of your website or Facebook page or whatever you want to join into the feed. We'll be glad to acknowledge you because we are pro small business. We are pro small business. We are pro community business. We are pro Black business. We are pro collaboration, networking. We are pro anything good that's going to help us build our community, put people to work, and further our mission. So thank you again for tuning in, everybody. Let's talk about some items that are happening in the news. And also thank you to our sponsors, Platinum Events Design and BLE Executive Suites, and a few others that we have, Lenny Riggs and Associates, and a few others who've joined the as sponsors. And if you want to become a sponsor so we can shout you out and run your ads right here on our show, just reach out to me. You can go to marketingpulpit.com and you can see a link. You can see the sponsors that are sponsoring the show. And you'll also see instructions on how you can become a sponsor. Or you can just give me an email, send an email to gatewood@marketingpulpit.com. And we'll be glad to talk to you about how we can make you a sponsor of this phenomenal show and put your business on the map. Because this show is heard around the world, even though we broadcast live from Washington, D.C. area. Before we went to break, we briefly talked about the fact that there's a war. There's a hot war going on right now in the Ukraine, which borders on Russia, is this past, I think yesterday, Russian forces entered into the country of Ukraine. Of course, the Russians have claimed it a peacekeeping operation. I think they've been kind of a little sour ever since Ukraine broke away when the Soviet Union was dissolved. And so since just a little bit about Ukraine. Ukraine is the second largest European country. So when people talk about Ukraine, particularly if you're not familiar with it, most people think it's some little small land mass that nobody's really heard of. But Ukraine is the second largest country in Europe after Russia. That's a lot of country. Has an estimated population of about 41 million people, and the eighth most populous country in Europe. It proclaimed its independence in 1991 and became a semi-presidential republic in 1996. It's the fifth largest country in the world when it comes to GDP. It's one of the world's largest grain exporters. After the dissolution of the Soviet Union, it inherited a 780,000 man military force on its territory, and it had the third largest nuclear weapons arsenal. But in May of 1992, it agreed to give up its nuclear weapons to Russia and join the non-nuclear proliferation treaty. And in 1996, it became a nuclear-free weapon country. And that's why some people find this invasion somewhat egregious, and that Ukraine did give up its nuclear weapons, kind of an agreement to appease Russia. In the morning hours of February 24th, President Vladimir Putin announced a special military operation to demilitarize Ukraine. In other words, I guess get all the weapons out. And later that day, the Ukraine government announced that the Russia military had actually taken control of Chernobyl, which is a nuclear power plant. And this war is going on right now as we speak. Ukraine announced that it lost about 140 soldiers already. They've shot down a few Russian airplanes, destroyed a few tanks. But right now, the Russians are attempting to seize the airport, the main airport in Kiev, and to topple that government. These are pretty tough times. Whenever you're talking war, it's always interesting when you. Now, my actually undergrad degree was in political science, so of course, if I talk history more than your typical business developer, that's why I just studied pre-law and political science during my undergrad days. But I was torn, but eventually my mission of business development won out, and that's where my purpose has really manifested itself. But I always harken back to my political science background, and I've seen wars. I remember the Iraq War when it started, and you see the first salvo. It's usually either artillery or missiles or aerial bombardment, and most people have to go through that shock phase. You said they must be just shooting at buildings. They must be just trying to hit bridges. They must be just shooting at some empty building. But then after about the first day or so, after you come back into reality, because your brain just don't want to accept the fact that they're actually shooting and attempting to kill people. And I'm sure that just like we saw back during the Iraq invasion, when many of us protesting and said, look, we don't want to see this war start. And just like now, as we're seeing Russia go into Ukraine, nobody wants to see this. Most sane people don't want war. If you want war, there's something wrong with you, really. Now, of course, you have a right, the people who feel like they're being wronged have a right to redress their grievances, but there's got to be a better way. So I always have to look at the person that fired the first shot, because once you fire that first shot, now you've killed somebody's dad, somebody's brother, somebody's mother, somebody's sister. And now you've killed somebody who was next to you in the foxhole or who was part of your unit. Now it becomes, I got to get revenge. And then you go kill some of their people. And then most people, once they're out there in the battlefield, sometimes they even forget what they're fighting for. They're trying to stay alive, and they're trying to get vengeance on the person that just killed somebody who's near and dear to them. That's why you don't want to start a war in the first place, because it gets out of hand. It never goes. You can go back through history, all the way back to when people using bows and arrows and swords and boiling oil. That war never goes the way it was intended. Never. You will not find an example. One side underestimates the other. There's troops on the ground that you can't control. People are selling beefs. The worst human traits surface. So the sooner this war wraps up, the sooner the better it's going to be for everybody, including people here in the United States. Now, while this war is raging, you say, why? How it's going to affect me? Ukraine is a zillion miles away from here. Russia is even further. Well, let me just give you some things that might affect you, and some things you might just look down the road for, so you're not be blindsided. Well, right now we already have a fragile supply chain. You've seen it. You go into the grocery stores and can't find your favorite ice cream. Some of the bread shelves are empty. Can't find the produce items you used to find with ease. Well, this is not going to help that supply chain. And I've done shows on supply chain. You can go back and listen. And I've given it very good tips on how you can take supply chain management steps. The stock market, which was already fragile. Once again, very volatile. It had a very big dip the other day. It has come back some yesterday and today, but it's still very much off, about 20% of what it was, let's say back in January. In some cases, more than that. Cash liquidity. In Ukraine, one of the first things that people did when the bombs started dropping is got in line to go pull money out of the ATM machine. Because in war, the financial institutions are usually affected early. And people stop taking certain forms of currency, like credit cards. They want cash only. And then, of course, there's inflation. Sometimes that $100 bill becomes worth about $10. Now, I'm not saying these things are affecting us right now, but they have, when war gets out of hand, it does have that trickle effect. Cyber attacks. The Russians are very sophisticated when it comes to cyber warfare. Very likely that Putin could feel like these sanctions, economic sanctions that President Biden is levying against Russia, they could see that as a form of attack. And they could respond in kind with cyber attacks. At your electrical grid, which could affect your water supply. And I'm not being an alarmist. I'm just letting you know why we don't want war. Fuel prices. There are 3 states right now where over $4 a gallon has become the norm. California, I think Oregon was the last one. There's one other state. Right now we're sitting around $3.50. That could jump to $4 tomorrow, depending on what happens in the war in Europe. Even things like your government contracts. Those contracts are they're written on a very flimsy piece of paper. I hate to tell you. I remember back when COVID-19 hit, and personally, I was flying all over the country doing presentations in the 8A program. And when COVID hit, it's like, well, look, we got to put these things on hold right now. Nobody's coming to see you speak. We got COVID to deal with. Well, these kind of things like war can affect some of these contracts that you're actually working on. Now, some of it might affect you for the better. Some things you may even pick up a little bit. But my point is, war affects institutions, people, even your mindset. So I just gave a sermon on, when you wait, good things come to those who wait. Like waiting out this war. Well, I would say take some precautionary steps on things to make sure you're covered. You might put a couple of bills, a couple of cash dollar bills in your pocket, in your drawer. Don't overreact, of course, but don't be caught too far off. And look down the road, particularly in these supply chains. All right, let's talk about, we're going to do another quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about some other items in the news. And coming up later, we're going to talk about the 80-20 rule. You're doing all this stuff, but 80% of it, you could just and focus on the 20%. And that's where you're going to get your result, your payoff. We're going to talk about that coming up in our sermon today. But in the meantime, we're going to take a quick break. And we're going to come back and talk about a couple of other items in the news. We're going to talk about some of this war in the workplace, how people are still acting the fool. So hang on, we'll be back in a moment. I'm not busy. I'm just in another era. Lock the refrigerator door. Do not let negativity have another bite. Don't feed it. If we know that women are carrying the burden, they should be paid more. They should be given more flexible work hours. I may stop at some period, but as long as folks bag the food, got to talk about it. All right, welcome back. Once again, thank you to our sponsors. In case you're wondering, the ads that you see running on the Marketing Pulpit are actually created by Gatewood Marketing and the Marketing Pulpit Show. So besides getting yourself some great exposure, part of your package for advertising, you get a nice video that we provide that you can go use it on your social media campaigns. You can put it on your website. And so you get a professionally created video with royalty-free music and stock art. And we can integrate your own photos into it. And you get a professional looking video. And some of the people that have become sponsors, they weren't trying to diss us, but they were more interested in the video than the actual advertising. Because they give me a nice video, I can go find my own ads. But anyway, just that's something to think about. If you have want to knock your brand up a notch and have a nice video out there floating around on the internet, like our sponsors, then reach out to us. We'll be glad to discuss how we can put you on the map. Well, let's see. Let's talk about what's happening in the news. There's this trucker protest supposed to be coming to the Washington, D.C. area to clog up the traffic. Now, there's about 700 unarmed National Guard troops are set to be stationed around the D.C. area to assist with traffic control. And let's see, these trucks are modeling their protest after what happened in Canada. And I think they were against the vaccine and who knows what else. But anyway, it's supposed to be heading to D.C. I thought they'd be here by now, but I don't think they've come yet. I haven't heard anything about it, but if they do, you might want to stay away from D.C. Get out early before the truckers get here. But like I said, everybody has a right to protest. But man, it can be frustrating. You're trying to get home. I'm trying to get to work or get to that meeting. Let's see here. Now, Uber's still having issues. I tell you, boy, I don't know. Uber's in the news every week. A New Orleans college student leaves home in Uber and dies after being dropped off at a hospital. Looks like she went to a party. And somewhere between the party and her friends seeing her get into an Uber, she was dropped off at the hospital, and she actually died. But Uber's probably saying, how in the heck did this, why is my name being mentioned in this? It just keeps coming back. Uber this, Uber that. Oh my goodness. That's very unfortunate. Let's see, IBM executives have called older workers dino babies in an email, according to a age discrimination lawsuit. Well, the folks over at IBM, they were sending around these emails. But I'm telling you, once again, man, just watch what you put in writing. If you have a beef with somebody, or if you want to say something negative to somebody, man, one, don't put it on social media, and don't email it. You're leaving a paper trail. You're making that work a lot easier for these lawyers, as Brian Flores and a few others have found out. You put it in writing, becomes evidence, discovery, and all that good stuff. Well, anyway, these emails at IBM, they were saying that this executive actually said these older folks are dino babies and are an extinct species. That's not very nice. Come on now, just because you got a little long in the tooth and got a few gray hairs, that doesn't make us, that doesn't make people extinct or dino babies. Anyway, well, IBM has found itself in hot water for calling people dino babies. That email did not help them in that discrimination lawsuit. And people continue to cut the fool on social media. A teen shot herself with a submachine gun while trying to record herself on TikTok. There's so much wrong. This is wrong in so many levels. First of all, why does a teen have access to a submachine gun? She asked her brother to film her holding the gun so she could upload it to TikTok, and the gun went off. Social media and submachine guns do not mix, just for the record. In Utah, police officers were shot at by a 4-year-old on orders of the father. Now, I've got to get more information on this. I'm just reading the story, but sometimes you read the story, but you can't believe it. Sometimes the story is so incredible that you figure there must be more to the story. But according to this story, a 4-year-old, the father was being arrested, and there's a 4-year-old in the back seat. And I guess the 3-year-old was riding shotgun with him. And according to the judge, the law enforcement, they were sitting outside of McDonald's. There's McDonald's again. McDonald's was probably saying, why are you putting my name in this? I wasn't the driver. I didn't have the gun. It wasn't my baby. So why is my name being mentioned? Well, that just happened to be the location. So the man was, according to the story, he told a 4-year-old to take the gun and shoot the police officers. Now I'm just not going to accept that yet. That is too bizarre. This is what the story says, and a 3-year-old was sitting next to the 4-year-old. I guess he was maybe holding the clips. I don't know. Come on, folks, if you're going to act the fool, don't put the baby in. Don't get the babies involved. 4-year-old shooting at the police. That could have gone horribly wrong. And McDonald's just can't stay out of the news. A fired employee threatened to blow up the restaurant. Azim Burton, 22, was arrested after he entered the restaurant. After they had fired him, he was highly agitated and asked the store, "You better give me my money." He said, "You better give me my blinking money or I'll come back behind the counter." Well, that threat didn't elicit any money. So he upped the ante. If I don't get my money, I'll blow up the place. And he also engaged customers and told them to step outside. So it's hard to fire people nowadays. I'm telling you. That's why I'm not going to hire anybody else. If you have a job with me right now, you have a job for life. You're not going to get fired. Because I have good people right now, okay? They mess up. I'm up there. You fire them, Jack. You better take a couple of days off. Let them cool down. Particularly if you're a fast food place. They have enough issues right now. Like drive-thrus. This lady, she was in the drive-thru with her kids, and she irked the customer who was behind her. So the lady got out of her car, drove towards the victim, striking her, and dragged her 150 feet across the parking lot. I guess she wasn't moving fast enough in the line. Come on, people. We can do better than this. Poor McDonald's, though. They're like, man, what do you get all the crazies? You can't fire people. You can't get in line. Well, I guess McDonald's didn't get all the crazies. A woman used her pandemic relief money. She used her COVID PPP loan to hire a hitman. Wait a minute. She used her PPP money to hire a hitman to murder a Miami TSA agent. Bank statement shows $10,000 cash withdrawals leading up to the homicide. Whew, my goodness. And a group of gangsters in New York, they got caught once again. They were flashing and posting their ill-gotten gain on social media. They got they got about $4.3 million in COVID relief money. And man, they were flashing gold chains and rims, and they called the Brooklyn's Wall Street gang. Boy, that social media, once again, man, you put this up on social media, you're making it very easy for law enforcement. I don't know what people are thinking sometimes, really. Like, people aren't going to see that. You're breaking the law, and you're going to spread it over social media. Police just said they don't have to go on the beat anymore. The beat is their Facebook page, their mouse, their fingers. They let their fingers do the walking now. Let's see, a butt injection gone awry. Suspected. A woman who was dumped at the hospital. A Connecticut woman is dead after doctors believe that a butt enhancement injection went terribly wrong, and she was dropped off at a Bronx hospital by two unidentified women. A 53-year-old woman, Maxine Messam. I mean, I'm not into ageism or anything, but I think at 53, you should be at a point where you have accepted the body that God gave you. I'm not saying anybody should be taking these risky surgeries, cosmetic surgeries. I mean, I know sometimes people feel like they got the little crow's feet, and I mean, you got to do what you got to do. But these, I really feel sorry for this young lady, 53 years old. She gets dropped off at the hospital by two unidentified women who was naked. The lady was naked from the waist down when she was dropped off at the hospital by BBL gone bad. And the priorities, people, priorities. Man, let me just sum these stories up for you. We're still in the midst of a pandemic. There's a hot war going on in Europe. The Russians and Ukrainians are literally shooting at each other, blowing up tanks and planes and taking over hospitals and government buildings. We have an economy that's still hanging on by life support. Stock market is in the tank. People are shooting at drive-through windows. People are getting butt lifts that are going bad. I'm just going to say this. This is a good time for all of us to rethink our priorities. Just think back. If you're about to go out and do a major makeover of your kitchen, your cabinets, if you're about to go out and buy a brand new car, if you're about to make a big life-changing decision, just proceed with caution. This is the time to re-examine your priorities. I'm not sure this is the time to be getting butt lifts and cosmetic surgery. And I mean, I get it. I'm not one of these folks who want to preach to people. Only thing I'm going to say, just think about what's important to you and your family. Hang on to that money. We don't know what's going to happen the next few days, next few years. Sit on that money for a minute. That's all I'm going to say. Or invest it in your company, your business. Help somebody who's in real need. Let's re-examine our priorities. That's what these stories tell me. So you have to wait 5 minutes at the drive-thru. That's no reason to shoot up the place. These things have repercussions that affect not just you, but your family. You can't tell a 4-year-old to shoot at people. Re-examine your priorities. And when you do this stuff, stay off social media. Sometimes you have a mental lapse. Sometimes you do something that you live to regret later on. But once you put it on social media, it's out there forever. You can't say, well, I deleted it. Well, there's screenshots. There's record screens. And like I said, I don't want to come across as a holier than thou. I'm just trying to say, look, I understand there's a lot of pressure out here. People having some tough times, stress, all this COVID, and people been locked down for a couple of years. It makes you do some things you might wish you hadn't done. I'm just saying slow down for a minute. Just slow down. Take a look at your priorities. And we can get through this. Really, we can. We can. I'm going to take another quick break. We're going to come back. Bradley says he can't get past the teenager with the machine gun on TikTok and the 4-year-old riding shotgun with an actual shotgun. These are real stories. It's enough to make you go, And Bradley also said Hawaii has also now become the 4th state with $4 gas. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, hey, you need this money to get to work and back. If you're getting close to retirement, you're going to need all of it. So let's prioritize our spending. I'm not saying don't spend, because we need you to spend to support the economy. But I'm not sure butt lifts is the way to go. I know it sounds crazy saying that on my business development show. But all right, folks, we're going to come back. We're going to talk about the 80-20 rule. Don't go anywhere. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. Here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. There's about 80% of the things you're doing right now that probably is not going to get you any type of result. You're just doing busy work. This young lady used to work for me many years ago. And I would go in the office and say, what are you working on? She said, I'm doing this computer work. But she wasn't a computer technician. She was just keeping herself busy on the computer. I said, no, what computer work are you doing? Probably was over that 80% that instead of the 20% that's going to get you that project completed or that profit that you're looking for. We're going to talk about that coming up. We're going to give you some specifics on what you should be doing marketing and business development wise as you apply this 80-20 rule. Marketing Pulpit, we'll be back in a moment. I'm not busy. I'm just in another era. Lock the refrigerator door. Do not let negativity have another bite. Don't feed it. If we know that women are carrying the burden, they should be paid more. They should be given more flexible work hours. I may stop at some period, but as long as folks back the food, got to talk about it. All right, we're back. Welcome back. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. as we bring you the good marketing gospel. We're not saving souls. We're saving businesses. We're saving jobs. We're saving our community. And Platinum, she rightly says, we must prioritize our priorities and not get caught up in the Joneses. Man, I'm telling you, you need to unfollow the Joneses. A lot of these young folks right now, they get on social media and they're all depressed. I'm gonna tell you, folks, half this crap you see on social media is fake. It's for show. You need to get off it sometime, particularly if you got young people. You might tell them to look. Take a hiatus. Chill for a minute. And I think it was driving a lot of this madness. People get caught up in social media. Bradley says the 4 states that have this $4 gas: Hawaii, California, and Oregon. And Hawaii was one of the 3. Okay, thanks for clearing that up there, Brother Bradley. All right, folks. Anyway, like I say, man, we got gas to pay for. We ain't got time to be out here acting a fool. You got to get to work. Build these businesses so you put other folks to work. All right, let me jump on this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for tuning in. I'm Robert Gatewood. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. You can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and you can get these past shows while they're still free. Right now, we don't have a paywall. You can go to Marketing Pulpit and just sit there. You can thumb through the topics. You're looking for a certain topic? You want to find out more about social media? Just go in there and pick that topic. You want to find out about branding? Go find that show. And on every one of these shows, there's a sermon about the 11:15 mark where we talk about that topic that we talk about in the headline. Sometimes you want to cut through the chase. You want to cut through the news and all that kind of stuff and get right to the story. Just go about the 11:15 mark. Or the 1 hour, 1 hour 15 mark. Wait a minute, not 45-minute mark. And then you will find the sermon. Let's talk about some profit producing activities. Applying this Pareto's law. Pareto's law is basically saying that 80% of the result you get come from 20% of the activity. And that's just applied just about everything. Look at your closet right now. About 20% of the items in there you wear. The other 80% you could really just take back to the store and take to the yard sale. You're always going to wear it eventually, right? But you never get around to it. You bought that white outfit for that all-white party. The party got canceled, and the white suit has been sitting in the closet for the last 15 years. It got bell bottoms and pleats, like a Steve Harvey zoot suit. Or that 80%. You need to get rid of them. Your toiletries in your bathroom, same thing. Use about 20%. Other 80% just taking up space, cluttering up space. So what if you could identify the 20% and focus on it and replace that 80% with productive items, such as the 20%? You will see your productivity skyrocket by a factor of 16, according to this Pareto guy. We call that the 16x factor. What if you did the same thing for your company, for your marketing efforts? You cut out some of the fat. I'm gonna give you some things today. What I call high producing marketing activities as we apply this 80-20 rule to our marketing and business development efforts. Some of you are probably already doing it. That's okay. Hear it again. It's like going to church. Yeah, we know shouldn't kill people, shouldn't steal, 10 commandments, shouldn't covet. But you got to hear it every now and then. Number one, on the high profit producing activities, improve your current service. Identify additional problems that your service solves. Improve your current service. Some of y'all haven't changed anything since you've been in business, and you wonder why things aren't moving. It's like a bicycle. If you don't move forward, you fall over. That's number one. Second thing, develop or create a new product or service. Now, sometimes, this might sound difficult at face value, but sometimes you can repurpose a service you already have, give it a new size, a new color, add a new feature. So you don't have to go out and really create like a macro. Use a macro approach and take something that you're already doing and tweak it into a new product or service. Look at these big companies. Man, they live by something new. Every time you turn around, McDonald's is introducing a new sandwich. And then, once that McRib gets old, they take it off the shelf and they'll bring it back up 3 or 4 years later. And it's new all over again to a new audience. So sometimes you can create something new just for a season or a reason. Pull it back and reintroduce it to a new audience. So develop something new. Now, I want you to develop, once you create that new product, market it to the best audience. Now, sometimes we go out and create new items, new products, and new services, but we try to sell it to everybody. You've got to sell it to the right audience, the best target audience. I'm telling you some things, folks, that's going to change your business tomorrow if you do it. Now, I talk about this all the time. I'm going to say it again today. Develop new partnerships, affiliations, expand your network, partnerships, create affiliate programs if you must. I was talking to a young man yesterday, and he is just gung-ho on this. I gave him a couple of tips, and he went crazy with it. That's all he wants to do now. Like, hey, Gatewood, we can stop all this other stuff because this is working like magic. So right now, what we're doing with him, we're building these networks and affiliates. And these affiliates go out here and sell your products and services for you. Anyway, that's another way. Create these joint ventures and partnerships and affiliations and have others, bring others into the fold to help you reach that mark. Here's one that's important. Create degrees of separation, something that will make your service or product unique. Now, this is one of those times you go into the room, turn the lights down, light your candles, or get you something to drink, pray, chant, or whatever you do. And just think, and I do this, what can I do to make my service different than the other ones? See, I didn't have to think on this one long because I understand the power of service and I understood the value of lifetime value. So what I did to make my service unique, I just give the best service. There's nobody gives better service than my company. I can say that unequivocally. I don't have to worry about being contradicted. Anybody who's done business with me knows that. Man, they be calling me. I was taking calls this morning at 2:00. I'm not proud of that, but that is my differentiator. That's one of my degrees of separation. This is no joke. Even though we have a 24-hour hotline, if you have a problem with your website, your domain name, your hosting account, your SSL certificate, your email, we have a 24/7 number. And I've told people that 100 times, but they just love calling me because I was the one, when I was small, of course, I was the one they dealt with. But now we have a 24-hour hotline to take care of that stuff. But I'm not going to say, look, hey, I'm bigger than this now. You're talking to the owner. Hear myself a bit. I can show you the text. It was 2:00 this morning before I finally said, look, I'm going to type up your instructions on how you should do this when you can't reach me. So I actually typed up an email this morning at 2:00. Here's the phone number. Here's your login, your password, your 4-digit PIN, the email address on file, the credit card you have on file for your recurring bills. And here's that number you can call if this happens in the future. I said, put it in a safe place. I wanted to say it because I'm not going to make you call next time. But I didn't do that. I went ahead and, I just do what I have to do. But anyway, that's one of my differentiators. You have to find yourself a degree of separation that makes your business unique. Now, do this. I'm telling you that these are things that's going to make your business. Just that 80-20 rule, some of this other crap you can just scratch out the way. Do some of this stuff. Acquire proof to use your marketing, such as testimonials or research. Man, people have so many choices now. I hate to bust people's bubbles when they come to my office and say, look, man, I got this great idea. I want to say, look, you and everybody else. So you got to find some way to let people know that you're different. You have to create social proof. You have to create, give people a reason to do business with you. And one of the ways to do that, show some type of research, white papers, and a low threshold approach to do that is through testimonials. You go to my website, gatewoodmarketing.com. Heck, the whole second half of the website is just testimonies. I got people flying across the screen, Joe Madison and Willie Jolly and this person and that person. And because this stuff works. You got to give people proof that your service works. You are risk averse. You are low risk for doing business with them. Okay? And you can add to that by creating some type of guarantee. Now, when you say guarantee, that doesn't mean if it doesn't work or it doesn't go to your liking, I'm going to give you a free one. But you might say, look, I guarantee if you don't like it, I'm going to give you a 10% off the next one. I mean, I like this promotion that, I think Domino's must have read my list the other day. They came with that free delivery. You become your own delivery person. Come pick up your own pizza and they give you $3. They call it like a delivery tip or something. That's that thinking new. I like that kind of thinking. You can do that too. You don't have to be a big company like Domino's to do it. Find a way to reward your prospects for taking action. Now, what's popular right now in the digital space is gated content. Look, give me your email address or buy something. I'll give you a free download or free video, but make it reward people for taking that extra step. And you have some things right now that you can give away or share to reward people for taking actions. Locate a marketing channel that gives you access to additional prospects. Right now, you're not reaching everybody that you can reach. I can guarantee you, which means you may have to join a networking group. You may have to advertise on a show like this if you're not advertising already. You may have to call the radio station, Radio 1 or someplace. But you have to go somewhere. You have to fish in a different pond. Okay? And to tie in with the rewarding, create a free piece of literature that you can give to people. That's right. The 10 ways to, if you're a travel agent, the 10 hot spots or 10 things you do before you board the plane. If you're an attorney, why you should trademark your company or your name, or if you're whatever your marketing company like this, give out people 10 profit producing activities as you have just heard. My bottom line is give out free information to generate leads, and you can put it on a postcard. You can put it on like I said, behind gated content. You can put it as a download on your website. You can put part of a blog, but content is king right now. And so if you're looking for something free that you can give away, sometimes people give away things like mugs and cups. You may give away a pen. I give away a lot of cups over here. I give away pens with my logo on it. Well, sometimes you do these things, but content is one thing you can do, but you can do other things to generate leads for your business. All right, folks, that's going to wrap it up for today. I want to thank you again for tuning in to the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'll be back next week, same time, same channel. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in, for your comments. Bradley and Gerald and Platinum and a few other people. I see your name. I see your numbers, but I don't see your name because I only see your name if you put a comment in, but I do see the numbers. So thank you, whoever you are and wherever you are, people on LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. And also, like I said, don't forget to go to Instagram. You can get 1-minute blurbs on some of the quotes that you hear on the show. We do a monologue at the beginning of every show. And you can get those in 1-minute sound bites. Sometimes you just need that little pick-me-up to get you going. And we'll be back next week. The month of March is around the corner. So the next time we broadcast, it will be in the month of March. We're going to be springing into action. And so tell somebody, by all means, feel free to share this show with somebody who needs this information. Don't be stingy. I know you got all this good information. Now you're ready to go out and make all this money. Well, help somebody else make it also. Also, thanks again to our sponsors. And like Platinum said, folks, let's prioritize our priorities as we go forward. We're in some different times now. You can't do things like you used to. There's no guarantee things going to bounce right back. So we got to be a little more cautious with our spending and how we treat people. And let's treat everybody with respect, and love, and care. And let's go ahead and help somebody else too. We're about partnerships. We're not about adversarial relationships. We're not trying to create adversaries. Even if somebody's in your same industry, we're about building partnerships. And that's what we should all do. It always comes back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. We'll be back next week. And if you want to be successful, you got to do these 3 things. Do the right thing, do it at the right time, and you got to do it right. Enough talk. Let's get to work. People don't understand marketing. You can't stop every time the money runs out. You need to come on and tell people why your service is different. Why is everybody so angry? Airline passengers biting the TSA agents. I mean, it reminds me of one of those zombie apocalyptic movies. And as a community, collectively, we're going to be taken more seriously if we have that strong economic foundation. Do the right thing, do it at the right time, and you have to do it right. Enough talk. Let's get to work.